qué gusto estar con ustedes y qué gusto estar con el señor presidente de Honduras.
Here with the
Presidente, quisiera
President of
empezar.
Honduras.
Mañana
President, I
cumple
would like
100
to start
días en el
by telling
gobierno.
you that tomorrow
Y
you
aunque eso
turn
sea un
100
poco
days in
un fetiche de los
office,
periodistas,
although
quisiera comenzar
journalists
preguntándole
love to talk about
cuáles
this. I
fueron
would
los
like to
focos de
start
estos 3
by
meses.
asking you what
Gracias,
were
GP.
your main
Hola, buen
priorities
día a
during these
todos. Que
past
Dios
3
los
months. Thank
bendiga
you
a
so
todos
much, GP.
ustedes, sus
Good
familias.
morning, everyone. God bless
Es
you
un gran
all and your
reto. En
families.
100 días
So
siempre lo
it's
digo,
such a
si
huge
por
challenge
décadas
in
no se han
100
resuelto
days, and
muchos
I always
problemas, mucho
say
menos para
that if
resolverlo
for
en 100
decades things
días.
have not
Pero
been
sí estamos
solved,
muy
of course,
enfocados en
you
temas de
do not have
salud,
enough time in 100 days
educación,
to address them all, but we are
infraestructura, porque un
focused
país
on
sin
education,
infraestructura
health,
no hay manera que
infrastructure,
pueda
because
salir
a
adelante.
country
Temas
without
de
infrastructure
saneamiento, agua
cannot progress,
potable,
move forward. We're talking about
ambiente. Entonces es
sanitation,
una mezcla
drinking
de varias
water,
cosas,
environment. It's a
descentralización que
mix
toma
of many
un
things,
papel muy importante en
decentralization
mi
as well,
administración
which
de 4 años,
takes a key role in my
con el alcalde
4-year
trabajando,
term.
298
And we have been
alcaldes
working with the
a
mayor. We
nivel de
have
todo el país.
198
Esto viene a
mayors
darnos una
at a
fuerza,
country
es una
level.
extensión
So
del
that, of
brazo del
course,
gobierno para poder
somehow
trabajar con ellos y poder
extends
llevar
our
una
government arm
oportunidad
for us to be
a
able to
muchos lugares
take
del país.
an
¿Por qué?
opportunity
Porque
to
desde
many
adentro del
locations
país
in our country,
debemos de
because
resolver los problemas
from
para
the
que no haya
inside of
migración
the
de la gente a
country
las
is where
ciudades,
we need
a
to
las grandes
address all
ciudades,
of
y
the
las
issues
grandes
so that there are
ciudades
no
que
migrations
no
from
vayan
people to
que
larger
no se nos vayan
cities,
a otros países. Entonces
because
debemos de dar
we do not
esas
want people
oportunidades
to go to
adentro,
other
dentro
countries.
de
Of
los
course, we do want to
dentro de
provide them
lo
with those
principal,
opportunities inside the
básicamente es eso,
main
la generación de empleo,
cities
porque
and
la única
towns
manera de
by
generar
creating
riqueza es
jobs,
traer
because the only way to
inversión
create richness
nacional,
is
inversión
by
extranjera, para
attracting
que el país pueda
domestic,
salir
foreign
adelante y
investment
crear
for the
esas
country to be
oportunidades
able
de
to move
empleo,
forward, to
prosperidad
thrive,
para la
and to
gente. No hay
create those
manera que
job
un gobierno
opportunities and
pueda
to also create
darle
prosperity
empleo
for our
a
people. There is
a
no
cada
way
uno de
for a
nosotros los
government to,
hondureños. Es
of course,
imposible.
provide employment
Entonces,
to every single
mediante
one
esa
of the
generación de
inhabitants.
riqueza,
However,
que es
by
generando empleo, es
generating
la
that
única
type of
manera de
riches,
cambiarle la vida a
that
la gente y de
wealthness,
subirle su
is that
nivel
we are going
de
to be
vida
in the position of
económicamente.
Ahora,
changing people's
inversión, está
lives
claro, ha
and
sido un
their quality
foco,
of life.
atraer inversores
Of course,
extranjeros, y
investment
creo que
is really important through
ahí
foreign
las claves
investment, like
son,
we
o
said. So the
objetivos
key
pasan
point
por
there
infraestructura
would
y
be
energía, en particular
infrastructure,
electricidad.
energy,
Correcto.
in
¿Y
particular
por qué un
electric
inversor
power.
extranjero
Right.
debería apostar por
Why
Honduras?
would a
Bueno,
foreign
en primer
investor
lugar,
take
si
a bet
empezamos del
on
punto de
Honduras?
vista
Well,
que
first
el
and
dinero o
foremost,
los
if we start
capitales
addressing the
son
fact that
miedosos, no quieren
money,
riesgo, quieren
capitals
rentabilidad, no quieren
are
tener problemas,
full
entonces,
of
¿por qué
fear,
invertir
they
en
do want
Honduras?
to get,
Bueno,
of course,
eso es lo que estamos trabajando,
profitability,
dar
they
esa
do not want to get
seguridad
too
que
risky. So
todo
we're
mundo y en
working on
cualquier
giving
momento dice
that
seguridad
certainty,
jurídica, pero
because we know
yo
that people
opino
look
que
for
antes
that
de
legal
tener
certainty. So the very
seguridad
first thing that
jurídica
I would
debemos tener
like
un
to
tipo de
offer
seguridad.
is not
Es la
just
seguridad
certainty,
política.
not
¿Por
only
qué?
legal certainty,
La
also
seguridad política,
political
porque la
certainty.
administración
Why?
pública no le
Why political
pertenece a
certainty?
ningún
Because the
gobierno.
public
Es un
administration does
deber
not belong
de
to
cada
any
gobernante del
government. It is
Estado
the
de
duty
seguir
of each
las
governor of
mismas
each state
políticas
to
de
really
desarrollo
abide
de
by
un
the same
gobierno hacia
development
otro.
policies
Entonces, en las
that go
elecciones
from one
del año
government term
pasado
to
se
the
mostró
other.
muy
So in the
claramente
past
la
year's
posición de dos
elections,
partidos
we
grandes,
saw
que
very
son
clearly
los
what were the
que así
stances of the
decidió
two
el pueblo que
political
fueran.
parties
Entonces debemos de
that
fortalecerlos
were
porque
just voted
compartimos
by
ideas muy
the
comunes.
population.
Más
So
del
we decided to
90% de
strengthen them
nuestros
because
pensamientos
we
son
share common goals.
compatibles
Over
entre dos
90%
partidos.
of our
Entonces yo
mindsets
creo
are
que si
compatible
entendemos y
in these
damos
two
esa seguridad
parties. For that reason,
política
I feel
primero,
and I
eso
believe that if we
asegura que hay una
provide that
continuidad
political certainty first, that
de
is
la
going to ensure that there
institucionalidad que debemos de
is
tener en Honduras.
continuity
Porque ¿qué es lo que
in that
pasa? Si nosotros
institutionality
venimos y
that
hay
we
que
are aiming
quitar
at in
todo lo que el
Honduras.
gobierno anterior lo
Because
hizo y
if
volver a
we
empezar,
just step
entonces
away
si
from everything that the previous
nosotros
government
en
did,
4 años,
yes, of
entonces
course,
venís y
4
distorsionás
years,
otra vez
yes,
todo.
that is
Entonces
going to
debe haber una
change things
continuidad para
entirely.
poder
For that
salir
reason, we
adelante.
do
El
need
tema de la energía
continuity
eléctrica
for
es muy
us to thrive.
complicado.
Electric power, like
La
we said,
seguridad
is
jurídica
very
que debemos de
complicated.
dar
The legal
sigue
certainty
después
that
de la
we need to
seguridad
provide
política.
also
El
follows
tema de
political certainty,
invasiones, el
and
tema de
also
leyes para la
invasions,
inversión,
laws
el tema de
for
poder
investment,
llegar a
and also the
negociaciones que
fact
fueron
that
muy
we can
claras,
reach
empresa
negotiations that
privada
were very clear,
con los
let's
sindicatos de
say with the
negociar
private
los salarios mínimos
sector
para los próximos
companies, with
2 años, para
unions,
que pueda
with
haber una
whom they
estabilidad, para
negotiated
que pueda
minimum
trabajar
wages for the
bien
coming 2 years so that we can have
el
stability,
empleado en una
and for
empresa, en el
employees to be
be able to be not motivated to work in a company, in a government institution, and for them to also be able to develop themselves. So in terms of electric powers, we have 2,500 megawatts. So again, we have basic topics that are key for development and for us to be able to really get to tendering exercises in the coming months. It is going to be open to everyone. We're going to have these tenders open to competition. Please just tell us what kind of technology is going to just lead you to generating that power, electric power, right, and power in general. Of course, we need to abide by the global environmental rules, and also we need to see, let's say, the cheapest kilowatt cost and also in the lowest time possible. With clearly defined rules, with transparency, I am positive that Honduras will thrive and just prove that things are feasible, that we can really attract that kind of investment for us to be able to work with an open door policy. So yes, I can prove that this is simple. My work is to perform or to serve as an enabler. How much do you want to invest? $100 million? How many employments are you going to create? So if that's the case, how can I assist you with that? If we do not understand that point as a government, there's no really reason behind our striving. So again, I know that I was a mayor for 8 years of a city, and I know that public administration is not easy at all. There are 100 steps that you need to take before you achieve something. But again, I also worked at a private company. I have been working in private companies for over 50 years. So really learning and knowing these two sides give you this important mix, this knowledge, and it will help you out in succeeding and also in giving continuity to a given project. When you feel that you need to just continue moving forward with a given project, you just need to keep on fostering it so that you can achieve it. Okay, sir, let's speak of geopolitics. How can a country like Honduras with 11 million persons, how can we navigate those situations in Latin America where we have a very interventionist role from the US, right? And also China, the region. Let me speak of the Central American region. The Central American region is a very strong region. We have about 50 million inhabitants. Yes, it is growing exponentially. Yes, and Honduras is 2 hours away from Miami, right? Even 3 days by boat. So we are so close, and we have such a huge commercial partner, right? So we do need to really understand who are our partners and what is convenient for the country. So as a president, I have a duty, right, to serve my country. But the most important part here is to see what's also convenient to us, who is going to be our actual business partner. What's convenient? Well, I can tell you, we need to improve our relationship with the US today. For instance, that's our largest business partner. We have 2 million Honduran people in the US. Please, I do not want to overlook Spain. We have over 300,000 Hondurans in Spain, where we know that remittances are in the amount of 12 million USD approximately. We are speaking of 28% of the GDP of the country that comes from those remittances. So generating that trust in the country and also looking out for the actual business partners to see where that exchange comes from. Of course, we know that we do have a business somehow inclination, of course, for the benefit of the US. We are speaking of 2.4 right times the importance and $2.4 billion. But all in all, the European Union is also very important. I cannot overlook that. We have a sustainable business relationship with the European Union as well. So I feel that we need to really start looking at our true partners. We are in a stronger America. We want a more prosperous and more united America, right? Or general Americas, to be honest. So if we do not generate that prosperity, we do not create it to have a significant social change to improve the wellness of our people, then we're not going to achieve it. Of course, we are clear that that partner is the US, and that obviously we have really received that outstanding support from President Trump. So how much have they supported you as Honduras?
We have definitely discussed this with President Trump. We are on his side, and that is a very important step. There is a synergy that will bring many more benefits into the country. So this also goes hand in hand with relationships with our shared interests, with what is convenient to the different countries, to Honduras and to the U.S., trying to get always the best decisions for both countries. But speaking of investments in security, we are now giving a lot more security to our investors. We are complying with all of our commitments. We are looking at the benefits that the government owes to companies from Honduras, but also from abroad, American investment. We owe them tax money, so let's invest in Honduras. That's the next step. To take some steps to begin purchasing dollars. So our reserves right now, starting in January 27th of this year, we've had 100 days starting tomorrow. So we'll have 10.3 billion in our reserves, but we are now around 10.5. So for 1.2, 1.3 million over of our own reserves in only 94 days. This is something that provides certainty to investors and stability and credibility to the country. So the plan is to reduce or to cut down 16 government agencies and shrink them to later unify them. And then there is another step for the next year, but depending on how we are doing with the tax deficit control, which will determine how the state institutions behave. President must see the country as a large-scale business and know how to handle it. Anything else is not the right solution. We need to be able to control our public expenditures. We cannot spend more than we have. So unless we structure those ideas, I believe if we do change them, many things can change and bring this better future to Honduras with better education, tourism, many challenges along the way, of course. We need to capitalize on our central bank, something we have not done for a really long time. So these are very clear investment-related policies that will strengthen the economy further. And the political side needs to be more at ease. No one wants to invest in a country where the Congress has issues, when the presidency of the country seems to have lost all order. This is why I believe order, transparency, and clear rules matter. Now, during the campaign, recognizing China was one of the key messages. Where are we right now? We are analyzing what is best for Honduras and for our citizens. So, depending on that, we will be working on investments, on job creation. So this is really a number of things that we need to consider to make the best decisions. Well, we were talking about containing the public expenditures and decentralizing, and this is all essential, but it also requires other things like austerity and sometimes a lack of stability. How to find the balance here? Well, today with the war and the situation with oil, which is, of course, affecting everyone, all the world, and not only Honduras, we need to find a way to achieve balance. We call it a temporary economic support, what we have with fuels right now, which is a 50% assistance on gas and diesel, which really moves the economy. GOP, the gas, which is used in the micro industries very often, and also power, to find a way to temporarily support it so that this does not receive a disproportionate impact, therefore causing an impact in the budgets of our citizens. But we need to also generate jobs, because the worst thing that could happen is having prices go up disproportionately for food and basic needs or for fuels when there are no jobs. That would be the worst possible scenario. But as long as we have balance and if there are any job creation opportunities in that balance, I believe that we can have stability. But this requires working all the way from the higher spheres. Sometimes politicians don't understand the responsibility we have. It's like we act like money, we have infinite access to money. This is definitely not the case. We cannot spend more than we have. We need to know how to invest our money. So if businesses stop respecting the value of money, that is not good. So we need to make sure that reality is not distorted. I know presidents don't like to have prices go up, but we need to have responsibility here. You have inherited also the issue of, healthcare issue. What are you proposing? Well, the public policy in terms of healthcare are the responsibility of the state. But in Honduras, we need to be very clear regarding the need for us to cover all of our healthcare population, around 4,600 patients who in renal care. We're talking about emergency care. So we have drafted a plan during the campaign, now working with standard prices for all private hospitals at the national level. This surgical coverage and dispatching of medication across our network of pharmacies across the country, as well as procurement of public hospital equipment, maintenance and operations in their equipment. The public system is one that is not all about procurement, but we sometimes forget about maintenance. If we do not provide the necessary maintenance and operations, there will be no way to support these operations. And finally, insurance for different state properties, state-owned properties. Later this year, there will be, I'm sure, good results, a good response. And by the way, I have undertaken the responsibility for healthcare. I have undertaken the responsibility of being the health secretary, and all the undersecretaries and the structure of healthcare are going to respond as well. So finally, a couple of more minutes. Looking at Latin America today, we have several opportunities, but also several common issues. Perhaps the most important ones being crime and insecurity, but also migration, drug trafficking in the U.S. Can the region have a common solution for these problems, really? Yes, we are working closely with the American government as well as with support with the government of Israel for drug trafficking and extortion-related issues. And finally, the issue of education. For the first time in history, we are delivering at the national level for 1.2 million students, 10 million books in elementary education at the national level for September. Thank you very much, President, and good luck this year. Please join me in a big round of applause for the President.
The next panel will begin shortly.
Gracias, GP.